Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork out for a while.
Hi, Rangers. It's me, Jackie Kashian. Welcome to the Dork Forest. It's 2024. Let's do this. Here's the credits, of course. Mike Ruekberg sang that song at the beginning, and he wrote that song, and he sang it with Sarah Cohen, his wife, and he will sing the Mexican hat dance at the end of the program. Also, Patrick Brady, still putting this together. Video, audio, all of it. He's amazing. So, and Vilmos doing JackieKashianStore.com. Squarespace is doing the regular Jackie Kashian page, and I'm thinking of moving the Dork Forest and dorkforest.com away from WordPress because it's driving me nuts. But those are the credits. But if you go to JackieKashian.com, you can get Dork Forest merch. You can get my stand-up merch. You can get my stand-up CDs and DVDs, which you'd have to have devices for those. You can also see videos and find out any number of things. I have another podcast called The Jackie and Laurie Show, but the Dork Forest is the flagship. 18th year. We're doing it, you guys. You can go to my Bandcamp or my YouTube for extra content. Please donate, is what I'm saying. It's 2024, and I think we've been in this long enough. Why don't you guys, everybody send me $100? That's what I'd like you to do. You can PayPal me. There's links all over the pages. You can Venmo me at Jackie Kashian. You can find me at a stand-up show and hand me a sweaty wad of 20s. Do something. But I love doing the show. I would love to make some money, is what I'd like to do. In other news, I'm sure there's more things that I should talk about, but I can't think of them. But let's listen to who's going to dork out about something, because that's my favorite part. Thanks for listening, you guys. You're all great. Let's get into the show. Hey, it's me, Jackie Kashian. I'm in my home, and powerhouse comic from back in the day, still working, still writing, new album. Susan Rice, Portland comic. Welcome to the program.
Jackie, God love you, girl.
That was the intro. That was your intro.
Very sweet. It was very sweet. I am.
A week from today, you have a new album coming out called Silver Alert.
My
Hilarious.
First album.
Your first album.
42 years, first album.
Wow. Okay.
I know. Not exactly
my dad is
ambitious.
like, oh my God, she's leaving money on the table. Susan Rice's Instagram and TikTok is at funny old bag. Funny old bag. Get it?
Yep,
because she's not super young.
Nope.
Me neither. Anyway, Silver Alert, hilarious. So 40 years of stand-up comedy. Your favorite 45 minutes is on this album?
Well, it's the one I could remember. 45 minutes of stuff I could remember is on that album.
Did you go into the vault?
Yeah, because I don't know if you've understood. This last year, I got asked to do. You want the long story? Because it's just okay.
We got time before we get into the thing.
I had nothing. I know. I wish I was more of a dork.
It's a cross that you bear being so cool.
Back in 2003, the Don't Tell people. I done the Don't Tell shows in Portland for years.
Right.
And one of the kids, Brent Lowry, who runs the Don't Tell, good comic, great guy, called me up and said, hey, and he actually used the phone because he knows I don't text. And he calls me up and he said, I want to submit you for taping for Don't Tell. And I said, no. And he said, why? And I said, because it's not my scene anymore. It's your scene now. This is your time. I had my time. I just want to stay relevant enough that I'm still getting my little, $200, $300 gigs and I'm happy.
Okay.
And he said, no, I want to submit you. And I said, they've never filmed anybody. You're just going to get turned down because they've never filmed anybody my age before. And he says, well, I think that could work. And I go, no. And so I said, thank you, honey, but no. The little person that he is, the goofball, submitted me.
Yeah, he submitted you anyway.
And then I get this email from the owner,
Kyle.
And he wanted me to do a gig in November. That was like 2-3 weeks away from the time that this conversation took. I said, no, I can't. And he says, well, Brent said you say no. And I says, no, I can't. Actually, I have a contract. I'm doing a corporate. I can't do it that day.
Okay.
And he went, oh, you're a working comic. I go, yeah, I am. Yeah.
So
anyway.
Brent didn't really sell you.
Well, he was, anyway.
He tried, but he should have said, she's working the road all the time and she does a lot of corporates.
Yeah.
But you should, okay.
So then I did say yes. And I filmed it in January of 24, the 20th of January, 24.
You do one of those 10, 15-minute gigs where they film it real nice?
Yes. And it was a powerhouse lineup, sis. You wouldn't have wanted, I didn't want to. Derek Strope opened. Had to follow him. And then Kyle Kinane was on. I mean, it was.
He had to follow you, sister, is what I'm talking about.
Well, I'm telling you, I was sweating bullets. And there was, anyway. So I got a knee replacement, got the tape the day I got my knee replacement to edit. I was like, I can't do this right now. Anyway, but on March 11th, they loaded it up and they put it on their website and on
YouTube.
And by the 15th of March, it was over 1 million people.
Oh yeah.
And then it went. And then AGT called 2 weeks later, and I said no to them.
There is a pattern.
Yeah, and then they said no. And they said, well, if we can get you on. I said, no, you'll have to be. I wasn't going to jump through all those hoops, Jackie, all those different producers.
Same. They asked me to do it too, and I was like, it turns out I just want to do stand-up. I don't want anyone to care at any level besides this level. This is the level I would like to care.
Exactly. And then they said, well, you'll be in front of the celebrity judges. And I said, well, I don't know. And they said, well, we're almost at the end of the season. Would you consider doing next year? And I said, no, I'm 72 years old. I'm not putting anything off. Are you kidding?
I'm not putting anything off. That's the name of your next album. I'm not putting anything off.
Exactly. So anyway, that went really well. And then my life changed. And so then I got approached by Jack Vaughn and
okay.
I said no to that. And but I did do AGT and I had a great set, except for it was really bizarre. Yeah. Very bizarre.
Yeah. Did you do Last Comic when it came out?
No, I didn't. I never. So
submitted. You didn't know any better? You didn't know that AGT was just going to be like that and put a bigger fucking deal?
I actually kind of did because I talked to so many comics. But the thing about it is that you're supposed to have some kind of anonymity when you first walk on the stage. And this was literally less than a month after my YouTube thing, after Don't Tell. Mm-hmm. And 1,200 people stood up when I walked out. There you go. And that scared. It
means that you should be doing more than $300 one-nighters.
Well, it was. I almost wet myself, and then I was so scared. And then, and I think, but Erica Rhodes did it the same day I did. She did an early show. I did the late show, and her set. She was so good, and she did go. They did choose her to go on to the live sets.
But, are you allowed to tell me that?
No, sure. No, this is already done.
Okay.
It's already, that season's over. That was 2024.
Okay.
So since 2024, things have changed in my life.
Sure.
I'm back on the road.
Yep. You're back on the road. Are you getting better money?
Yes.
There you go. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Because because that's what it can do. That's what it's supposed to do, right?
Exactly.
It's supposed to create a buzz that makes people want to go see you. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay. And so now you have this new album, Silver Alert, coming out a week from Tuesday. And by the way, buy the album. I always say this, don't just stream it. Susan Rice will make more money.
I'm worth the $6, damn it.
You're worth the $6 to $10 that it cost to buy the entire album. And so they're going to play it on Sirius and Pandora and Spotify and all the things.
Yes.
Is it squeaky clean?
Well, I am not a blue comic. I don't.
No,
but
me neither. But their definition of blue on Sirius XM is very different.
There's language. It was a lot cleaner than the Don't Tell. So there's some language in it, but
Sure.
I'm sure I'll get bleeped on whatever they want to bleep me on. But
Sure.
no, I'm not.
You're signed up for Sound Exchange, obviously.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, and
it should be at least low headliner money every month. 1 week of pay.
Well,
that can't hurt.
From your mouth to God's ears. Okay,
if you're lucky, and with Jack Vaughn being the guy who produced the album, it should play more than my albums. Because my albums, I get about 1 week of pay a month. And I have nice. 7 albums out.
Let me tell you something. To those of you, I've known Jackie Kashian. We're not dear friends, but I've admired you for so long, and she's the most. And you can ask any comic in the business that with their weight that's been around for 20 years, who's the most prolific writer in the business, and they will all say Jackie Kashian.
Oh, that's very sweet. I don't.
And that's really true, and that comes from Dwight Slade and Tom McTeague and Dave Anderson used to say it. I mean, you are just prolific, and that's so awesome.
I appreciate it. And
they should buy your albums. Everybody buy your albums.
But my new albums, my albums run every 3 to 4 years. So,
well,
as opposed to like
42, sis.
I know. Well, I think I'm 40 years in. As well. I mean, I started in 84. So
yeah, you're only a year after me.
That's it. So
wow,
you'd think
you were a baby.
We should be further along. Anyway.
But we're no quitters.
We're no quitters.
We're no quitters.
But let's talk about what you dorked out about. Let's do that. We've already eaten 10 minutes talking about stand-up comedy.
Because I don't know if I have enough talking about my dorky
Well, because
stuff.
This is something you would have thought I would have watched this program, but I never did.
Well, I don't think this is your genre. I don't think this is what you tend to go towards.
I don't know. It's Downton Abbey, you guys. I think Rangers of the Dork Forest are like, Jackie Kashian has never watched Downton Abbey. I love Maggie Smith. I love Room with a View. I read historical romances. You would think Downton Abbey, and I watch all those British murder mysteries.
Oh, gosh. Oh, yeah. What's her name? Yeah.
Miss Marple.
Yeah. Miss Marple, but the other one too. Oh God, what's her name? Anyway, what's her name?
There's 1,000 of them.
Yeah, but they're. I like them because the Benchley Street. That's a really good one because that takes place World War II, and
Bletchley Circle.
Yeah, Bletchley Circle, the one that breaks the codes.
Yeah, Bletchley Circle is set in the
awesome.
Late 40s, early 50s. I saw that.
Well, yes, and they went into the 50s. They started during World War II. There's 2 of them.
Right. There's the Bletchley Circle where they solve the Nazi codes.
Right.
And then afterwards they solve a serial killer crime.
Right.
Her and her old friends from Bletchley Circle, they can't tell anybody because of the Secrets Act.
And it's just awesome. And that, is that woman kind of that. And that I watch I'm a big Jane Austen. I like Sense and Sensibility.
Did you ever watch Foyle's War?
Favorite. Loved him. And I just, I was always amazed at how they could replicate those war scenes. Yes. Yeah. I was just like, oh my God, this costs millions of dollars to do.
Right. Because Foyle's War also set during World War II, but it's also another home front kind of thing.
So you do watch this. Okay, great.
Right. Because here's the thing about the British home front World War II stuff. I love it because that's where right now, currently, I am finding my hope.
Yes.
And 2, they always end with the Nazis losing. So those are 2 things that I'm enjoying at this time in my consumption.
Exactly. And, it does. It gives you, it's that I can't watch any more news. I can't watch any more.
No. So, but Foyle's War, because he's so cool, the cop.
Yes, he does it begrudgingly.
Right, because he wants to do something for the war effort.
Yeah,
but then, of course, he realizes.
But his son is in it, and he's worried about his son.
Right, his son's an RAF.
And he doesn't trust the powers that be to do the right thing.
Right, because there's still wartime grift, and there's still wartime people getting away with stuff.
Exactly.
Did you watch all the seasons of Foyle's War?
Yes. Well, no, wait. I don't know if I've watched all the seasons because I think my subscription ran out. I think the last season, I don't know if I saw the last season.
Because the war ends.
Yeah.
And then they want him to join MI6.
Did they go on with that? Did they?
A little bit, yeah. Because you remember the older lady, the skinny old lady?
Yeah.
She
was so good.
She was so good. I don't want to give it away. Spoiler alert on a 10-year-old show. Not willing to go there. You should totally watch the end of Foyle's War. I think it's 9 seasons.
I know. I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna break down and finish the whole. That gives me something else to watch. I watched Ted Lasso about 9,000 times. I have to go to happy things sometimes at night. I can't go to bed.
For sure. But the weird thing is that some of this stuff are like murder mystery stuff. And for some reason, because they catch the bad guys, it's positive, right?
Right. And I love Vera because she's cranky like I am.
Okay.
And
I've never watched Vera.
Oh, Vera's good. Vera's good because you actually, she gets to you actually, the way that they've written it, you get to the killer moments before she does.
Okay.
It's really interesting because you kind of go, and then like a minute later, somebody goes, "We found this." She goes, "Yes, I know." And I'm going, "Yes, I know too."
How many seasons are there of Vera?
There's about 13.
And is she a cop or is she just like...
She's a police officer. Yeah, she's, what do they call him? Constable?
Constable? DI?
DI. She's a DI, yeah.
Inspector? It's
General,
a detective inspector or
yeah.
detective...
Yeah.
It's did you ever watch Endeavor?
Yes. Jackie, this is so awesome. I thought I wasn't a dork. I love this.
Yeah, it's a terrible cross to bear when you're too cool.
Endeavor was another one that...
because they did the time period so well.
They did, and the costuming on that, and I will say I did watch the Witches one with Matthew Good and
the Witches one?
Yeah, it's they might be witches. No,
No. I think I remember it was about 3 women.
No, it takes place in she is a witch and he is a vampire. He's a vampire.
What?
Oh,
a witch and a vampire are solving crimes?
They go, I mean, it's amazing. They're trying to find the DNA why a certain species of there's demons, there's vampires, and there's witches, and the demons are dying off, and they don't know why.
What?
And they're and Matthew Good is I don't know if it's Goody or Good is a scientist at Oxford.
Okay.
And that's his specialty, but he's lived thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And Jackie, you've got to watch the something of witches. I'll look it up. I'm so sorry.
Okay, it's
Conspiracy of Witches.
A Conspiracy of Witches. Yeah, I'm just all of a sudden I'm looking down going, how do I look up Matthew Good, vampires and witches? And so it's not a
it's a series. It was a BBC series.
Okay.
And it's it's fabulous.
A Discovery of Witches?
Discovery of Witches. That's it.
4 seasons?
Yeah, there's 4 seasons of it. It's really well done.
Wait, forbidden love between a witch and a vampire?
Yes. Forbidden. It's forbidden, but it's forbidden, pretty hot.
Susan.
It's pretty hot.
It's pretty hot. After an ancient manuscript is uncovered, pitting them against supernatural forces, vying for its coveted secrets.
Yeah, it's really good.
Okay.
That is a good one.
It is on Acorn. So
Yeah.
Welcome to me watching Discovery of Witches.
Discovery of Witches, not a conspiracy of witches. It's that's a good one. And it gets a little, it's violent, but it's not.
Okay.
It's magical.
Did you ever see, now here's the thing, is to find a show in this genre or in this kind of thing, the talk about proliferation. So many. There's so many. They're like, there isn't even that many murders in all of the UK. And yet the murder series are enormous.
I know. Even Father Brown. There's a murder in Father Brown.
My mother-in-law watched all of Father Brown in the 2.5 years that she was with us. She also watched all of Poirot and all of Dr. Blake. And then she finished
Dr.
Endeavor
Blake.
and then went to Morse. And
Morse is great, though.
And then Pie in the Sky.
Didn't watch Pie in the Sky.
Pie in the Sky is great. But here's the one I want to ask you about. It was made during lockdown by 5 actors, British actors, who pooled their money and made a weirdo show called Madame Blanc.
I didn't see it. I think I
Madame
saw
Blanc there's a reason they don't have the budget of an Endeavor or a Beat, but they got picked up, and there's 3 or 4 seasons of it because the first season they made themselves in just some small town off of Italy, and they're pretending it's France.
Wait a minute. I think I did see part of it. Yes.
She's an antiques dealer.
Yes, I started to watch it, and I don't know what happened. Oh my gosh.
You should commit a little bit because you get to know all of the characters very well because there's just the 5 of them. And it's literally just a bunch of actors were like, let's put on a show. It's like when comics put on their own show and then you think that you've gone to dinner and instead you're at a comedy show. But
you're in line at the buffet and all of a sudden there's a comedy show.
But then you don't know.
I've been there.
It could have been the funnest. Then you might have the most fun. You don't know.
I know. Yep.
And I will say, Madame Blanc, I have warmed to these actors. I have warmed to these characters. I am completely on board with Madame Blanc.
It sounds like a sophisticated Doctor Who. I'm not sure.
It is a doctor. It is a yes. I mean, there's also like weird Chelsea detective. Have you seen that with the guy with the bike?
There was one that Netflix picked up that was not BBC, but it was made out of Tanzania.
Oh, wait. Oh, right. It was the African one?
The 2 well, they're not African. They were Australian. It was Australian, New Zealand. But
wait a minute. Are you talking about Deadlock?
Yes. I love that show.
I have gushed about Deadlock on this program many times. I love
Deadlock.
Deadlock is, and just to remind Rangers, picture, if you will, a murder mystery show shot in northern Florida, where half of the town are rednecks and the other half of the town are lesbians.
The whole lesbian thing just killed me.
It just kept going.
The whole town was they were having a lesbian festival. It was hysterical.
The mayor was gay.
Oh,
there was a lot of that.
It was so bizarre and so funny. It was.
How about Jane Seymour, Harry Wilde?
No, I haven't. No, is that a good one?
That's a good one. And there's another one called Signora Volpe.
Okay.
Which is set in Italy.
I'll never get out in front of the TV set. I can't.
And there's also, what was the other one? There were the Thursday from Endeavor.
Thursday. Oh, I love him though.
So he's in one that's set in Italy, where him and his wife, they're like diplomats.
Cool. I do like him. He's a great actor.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah, he's a great actor. He was. He had a part in Foyle's War too at one point.
He did, as did the guy who played the superintendent from Foyle's War.
Yes.
He was in one of the early Foyle's Wars.
And he
was
a
curator.
Right.
A museum curator guy.
That's right. He's been in millions of things. During Endeavor, he was always smoking. He smoked so much I thought, how does this man even breathe?
Right. The guy who played the supervisor guy is currently in the new Star Wars show Andor.
Oh, he would make a great scary character.
Terrifying Nazi guy. Yeah, he's a terrifying Empire guy. I've decided, by the way, if I ever meet an ICE agent, I'm going to say to him, "You're a little short for a stormtrooper." Fuckers.
You are so.
And then I assume I will be punched in the face. But so be it.
Oh, God.
So, but here's the thing. So, Downton Abbey was going to be your actual.
I know it was because I was.
You've seen it a lot.
It was a knee jerk thing when they asked me what's your, and I couldn't think of anything except for what have I watched a lot. And I went Downton Abbey. I've watched a lot of Downton Abbey over the years.
Do you usually restart it?
Not right. Yeah. I mean, I've watched it once this year. It's a lot of the time during things that, like, you think, okay, I just can't find anything that I really want to watch.
Right.
And, or I get to a point where, like, everybody loves White Lotus, but I got to White Lotus and went, I hate all these people. I don't want to watch.
Oh my God. Anymore. Chris, my mother-in-law rewatched Gracie and Frank and Gracie like that.
Yeah. I did like Frankie.
Yeah, that was great. Grace and Frankie. That's it.
Grace and Frankie.
So, but Downton Abbey, what year does that start in?
Downton Abbey starts in the early 1900s.
Okay,
late 1900s, just before World War II.
Or one?
World War I. Excuse me, World War I.
And there's fancy aristocrats and fancy and not fancy people who are cleaning things.
Yeah, it's a story of a family that owns this. That basically, back then it was kind of a feudal existence. They had this. They had the big home, the manor, and then this land that fed the village, and all this kind of thing. And so they were responsible for a lot of the people in the village, and they were the centerpiece. And they were lords and ladies and
the landed gentry or whatever.
But it was coming to an end. It was the 1920s pretty much, but it was hard after that. After World War World War I, excuse me.
Does it start before World War I and kind of go through World War I?
Yeah, it starts just before World War I.
So sort of like a bunch of the dudes go off to fight World War I? Right.
You get the sense of how this family lived their life, and the women had to find a man, had to find a husband. It was all about finding the daughters' husbands and running this manor and dealing with the dowager, who was Maggie Smith.
Oh, so
great. She was hysterical. And,
oh, really?
Oh, yeah. She had the best lines ever. I mean, they gave her... she says, one of her lines, her counterpart says, "Oh, I love it when you compliment me." And she says, "Oh, I wasn't aware I did." I mean, it's that kind of thing. But she's just she's the matriarch, and then but there's this backbiting sisters, and one is the sweet one, and the other one is it. It's just and. They fight about losing the woman, the wife of the Crowleys is the family. The Earl of Downton Abbey had to marry his father lost a lot of money.
Did he have to marry an heiress?
He had to marry somebody with money, and he married an American.
Sure.
And so
poor thing.
Yeah, and I wish I knew all the actors' names right off the head, but I can barely speak in my own name. But I'm terrible at that. But
no worries.
It's and so she brings a whole different perspective to how, because she was nouveau money,
right,
and this was old money. And all the lords and all the Brooks book and all the stuff.
She's not as classy. She's like a vulgar American with a pile of cash that they had to marry.
Yeah, she's not vulgar at all, but she's sensible.
Okay.
And
well, they cast her as not vulgar at all.
No, she's not vulgar. She's very much. You know who it is? It's okay. Never mind. I should just bring this up on my phone.
But don't worry about it.
But it's she's a. her mother is played down the line in like the third season. She's introduced is Shirley MacLaine, who is who is an American heiress who is kind of like Molly Brown.
Right, right.
She was, they were new money and so it's all very, the wife has adapted to the lifestyle, but it's her money that's keeping this estate afloat. And when he loses his money during the crash.
Oh, right.
It's they have to bring on, so he has all daughters and they cannot inherit.
Oh, right, right. So he has to find them all husbands.
They have to find, so
because
there's a
whoever
cousin,
inherits is going to kick them all out of this abbey.
right? And Dan Stevens turns out he's the cousin that they notified that he is, because the Titanic went down and the heir apparent was drowned in the Titanic going down. They have to go to a distant cousin and notify him that he is now.
Now he's the heir.
He will inherit, and so he has to up his life and move to this village. And he's a solicitor.
Okay.
And there's a clash between the oldest daughter and him, who obviously turns out they don't clash down the line. They fall in love.
Is it Lady Mary Crawley?
It's Lady Mary Crawley.
So who's Lady Sybil Crawley?
Sybil Crawley is the youngest one who falls in love with the chauffeur.
Oh, how radical.
Yeah.
And Cora Crawley?
And she's the one that, Cora Crawley is the, she's wonderful. Cora is, she's married to the writer and the producer of Downton Abbey.
Oh, Elizabeth McGowan or something?
Yeah, McGovern.
McGovern?
Mm-hmm.
Edith Pelham? Edith?
Edith?
Do you know a character named Edith or Thomas Barrow?
Yeah, that's a sister. Okay. Yeah, Thomas Barrow is the he's a footman that aspires to be the head butler, but he's a sneak and a liar.
Oh.
And so he's kind of hated in the lower area. He's in the downstairs area. He's always plotting. He's an excellent actor. And the kitchen staff. I mean, it's all, you just get involved with this whole family.
Well, who's John Bates? Is he the current butler?
John Bates is fought in the Boer Wars with Lord Crowley.
Okay.
And was injured, and when a position of his valet came, he applied for his valet, and because Lord Crowley felt bad for him and knew him as a great warrior, hired him as his valet, but he had a hard time walking.
That was his plot twist, is that
yeah. But therein lies the downstairs has to accept somebody who's not able to do all the work. And
right.
And
so
and
they've hired him, but he doesn't have all of the motor skills to actually like press his clothes or do whatever.
He limps.
He's got a limp,
but he's very handsome. And Barrow wants his job, so he goes after him and starts rumors about him. And
Barrow wants to be the valet or the head butler.
Yes, he wants to be. Yeah, he wants to be the Lord's valet or the head butler. Yes.
So he just wants to move up a very limited chain of command.
And he's gay.
Oh, and Thomas Barrow is gay.
Thomas Barrow's gay.
Secretly gay, because you can't be gay back then.
You can't be gay back then, but I'll tell you,
does it work out for him anyway? Does he get to be gay?
They bring in a lot of the he has some conflicts. It's kind of interesting that the way that they wrote it about how people did accept it, but everybody knew it existed, but the government It's very
Right, it was a
similar to
don't
what's
ask,
happening.
don't tell kind of thing.
Yeah, it's very similar to what. I mean, I grew up with that whole idea of, it was available. Everybody knew that was around.
It
but
was
nobody-
sex was available, you guys. When
Right.
Susan Rice was a child.
Right.
Hopefully not as a child, but the whole time.
Right.
People were different kinds of sexy.
Well, there was that funny uncle that had a friend.
Right.
And
the aunt that had a roommate forever.
Right.
So Robert Crawley was the Lord and Violet
Yeah.
Crawley was his mom?
Violet Crawley, yes, was played by Dame
Maggie
Smith. Yes.
How about Tom Branson?
Tom Branson was a chauffeur.
Oh, okay.
And Tom Branson ends up marrying Lady Sybil Crawley.
Oh, there you go, the youngest sister.
But there's this tension, obviously, and later on, it's very sad. Is this a spoiler alert? I guess it's been around so long, I can just say it.
Right. Well, so
Lady
how long has it? Were there like 20 seasons of it? Or?
No, there's only 4. There's 6 seasons.
And there were sort of big cliffhangers kind of thing, right?
Right. There was cliffhangers at each season, but
let me see. 2010. There's 5 seasons.
Oh, okay, so there's 5.
So
I thought it was 6.
And so it goes from. Does it jump in time from like pre-World War I to post-World War I?
Oh yeah, yeah. You go into
because 1929 is 11 years after 1918, which is when World War I ends.
They end the war, and then they go on, and then there's the rebuilding of the structure of of these great families. So many of them lost their money because they didn't invest, and you kind of go through this whole: how are the Crawleys going to save Downton Abbey? How are they going to save it? And how is that going to do? And when Mary Crawley ends up marrying her distant cousin, Matthew Crawley, he comes on with different ideas of how to farm the land, how to be more productive, how to put in more, and so it revolutionizes, and they're able to sustain Downton Abbey.
Another generation of sort of farmer-owned.
Right. And then there's the the sister, the middle sister, who's problematic. I'm gonna cough, Jack. Sorry.
That's okay.
Has a vendetta against her older sister, and they've been fighting their whole lives. There's a Sybil marries, and Mary marries, and then Edith is trying to find her own way and falls in love with a married man. Who's not able to marry.
Kamal Pamuk.
Oh, that was a handsome guy that came for a fox hunt.
Oh, the fox hunting guy who
died at the house.
And died. There you go. Isabel Crawley.
He died in Mary Crawley's
James
bed.
Jimmy Kent.
Yeah.
Gwen Dawson, Patrick
Yeah, these
Gordon.
are all seasons. Yeah, that was the first one was first season. Yeah, they have all these different. They introduce all these different characters.
So who was the cook? Was it Mrs. Patmore?
Mrs. Patmore was the cook, and she's got
to be a rock.
She had her own storyline, and the Daisy, her assistant, had her own storyline. She became had been orphaned and had no education, and in the course of I think the 3rd or 4th season, she became aware of life outside the kitchen and became educated.
Okay.
And so she became a little rebel, and she and Mrs. Padmore were, there's all these, that's the thing, is that they did some serious deep development of each character.
Right. In only 5 seasons. And how long are the episodes? Are they an hour and a half, or are they an hour?
They're at least an hour. They're an hour.
Okay.
I think the finales are an hour and a half.
Okay. Because that's the thing about some of this British television, is that it ends up being an hour and a half, and you're like, All right. I thought this would be 57 minutes. I have
It's
to go to
Ju-
bed.
It's Julian Fellows. I know it's Julian Fellows who developed it.
Okay.
And there's going to be another. They're not going to do another season, but they are going to do another movie. They've done 2 movies
Okay.
after the season. There will be a 3rd movie that will end Downton Abbey. That will be the final ending of Downton Abbey.
And then it splits up and becomes a boys' home. But
Probably.
it looks like George Clooney did a guest.
Not yet. I think that's new.
Marquis de Hollywood, which is interesting because George Clooney with a British accent is something that sounds painful.
It does some people. Yeah, I don't think that's. I don't remember George Clooney in it yet.
Okay.
I think it's coming.
It must be coming. Have you seen both movies?
Oh yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And
times.
Several times.
You know what I love though, Jackie? I don't know if this is one of your things because we were talking about sets and stuff. I love watching the detail that they put in, but the costuming is unbelievable. And the set designs, the set decorations are phenomenal. It's like Bridgerton. The costuming in Bridgerton is unbelievable.
Right. Well, you know, I'm doing a joke about the 3 of us watching Bridgerton and this a variation of this happened. My mother-in-law, the 3 of us, it was a sexy scene. And
there are some sexy scenes.
And my husband said to his mother during the sexy scene, he said, "What do you think the historical accuracy of this program is?" And then I wrote a punchline, you guys. So come out and see me live doing stand-up comedy if you want to hear the punchline.
So hysterical.
It was pretty funny.
Oh my
But he did ask that question, and that is very
How
funny.
uncomfortable is it to watch a sex scene with your mother?
With your mother just sort of just sitting there. Mm-hmm.
Just hoping she took her medication.
Right. Did you ever watch Miss Fisher's Murder Mysteries?
Yes. Oh God, yes. I love that that costuming was unbelievable too.
Right. That was beautiful because that's Australian.
Yes.
And I actually read all the books.
Oh, I'd love to read the books. I loved her. Yeah,
there's like 27. Or the woman who wrote them just died. Wrote her, I think, her 30th book.
Oh my gosh. Well, they've got a young Miss Fisher series coming out.
Yeah, it's not as good. And and if you can, avoid the movie. Because there's only about 3 seasons and you want more. And if you want more, read the books. Don't go to the movie because the movie is painful.
That was like Harry Potter too. If you read the books, you get so much more depth. You know,
yes, for sure.
But
there's another murder mystery show that I always recommend whenever I have someone on talking about this. It's a New Zealand one called Brokenwood.
Why have I heard of that? You've seen, how many seasons is that?
Well, that one's 9, and the first 3 are pre-lockdown, pre-COVID lockdown. Oh. And then one of the main assistants goes away. He moves to London to try. The actual actor moved to London to see if anybody cared, and I don't know if they have. But I wish him luck. And so they got a new assistant.
Yeah. And
now they're 9 seasons into this thing, and I think it's now called Brokenwood Diaries. They just changed it.
Is it on BritBox?
It's either BritBox or Acorn.
Okay, I'll look at both.
Brokenwood.
Yeah.
There's another one. Here's something that's on PBS. There's 2 things. It's called Royal something Doctors. Royal Outback Doctors. Royal.
Oh yeah. The RAF doctors.
Yes, and there's only 2 seasons of that, and that is essentially St. Elsewhere, but with an Outback airplane.
Do you remember China Beach?
Oh, I do remember China Beach.
That's one of the shows that has never gone into syndication.
Really?
And I don't know why. It was so good, but I think here's my theory about it, because it was shot during Vietnam. I mean, it was supposed to be Vietnam.
Right.
And I think it's a trigger factor.
Oh, interesting. They had MASH, though. Why wouldn't?
The MASH was written it was supposedly the Korean War. I don't think we had the repercussion of what was happening with the people coming back. Even though
China Beach, not available for streaming.
No.
Very sad.
That was a great show.
Can you get the DVDs?
I don't don't know.
I assume you have a DVD player.
I do have a DVD. I have a DVD, and my VHS one still works.
Do you have a VHS DVD combo?
I don't. My television is a DVD combo television, though.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I know.
I set my dad for his birthday a money clip that said there's always money in the banana stand, which is a joke from Arrested Development. But I've never watched Arrested Development. I only saw the first season where the banana stand joke happens.
Right.
But I couldn't do it because the guy who plays the dad in jail reminds me of every dirtbag my father ever introduced me to.
Oh God!
So I can't do it. But so I sent him that money clip, and then I sent him the first season of Arrested Development. And I said, you only have to watch the first episode if you want to get the joke, and don't worry about it if you don't want to get the joke. And he watched it he binged it because they took away his driver's license 6 months ago.
Oh, okay.
So he's got some free time. He's seen The Rifleman. So
oh my God. Wagon train.
And so he watched the entire first season. So I sent him the second season, which I just talked to him yesterday, and he was like, oh, I've watched it. He's like, I know more about this sitcom than anybody. How many seasons are there? And I said, I get it. Third season coming. So yesterday I ordered from Thrift Books because I'm not ordering from Amazon anymore.
I order from Thrift Books all the time.
Yeah. And it was $4.50 for season 3 DVD of Arrested Development. Perfect. He will eventually get to the season that has Maria in it. And he loves Maria Bamford.
Of course. Who doesn't?
Right.
But that's great.
Yes.
Eventually, you just got to go keep watching, Dad. She's coming. Keep watching.
She's coming. So anyway, but the so the ones like if you've seen Deadlock, so here's the one that's on.
There's supposed to be another season of Deadlock, but I haven't seen it come out.
I know it's supposed to take place not in Darwin, I think, but up north. But here's the crazy. If you get to PBS, it's a spinoff of Foyle's War. But there's only 2 seasons. And then they didn't make any more, which is genuinely, but there are books. And I have bought 3 of the books. I have not read any of them yet.
This is when he's in MI6?
No, this is a parallel story, sort of an Ender's Shadow to Foyle's War. Okay. It's called Home Fires. Home Fires is great. If it's sort of it sounds like it's like a Downton Abbey Foyle's War mashup for you.
Well, Home Fires is with the women that are left behind.
Yep.
No, I've watched it. It's great.
Oh, you saw that?
I didn't know it was a. I guess it would have been. Yeah. I never put it together that it was a kind of.
Supposedly there was some sort of one of the actors from Foyle's War, but I've watched it twice. The seasons.
Yeah, me
and
too.
I've never recognized, but
I love the women. I love those women in that, and I remember because. I know, Jackie, I'm much older than you, but my mom and dad went through World War II. And my mother...
Were they in the service?
My dad should have been, but contracted type 1 diabetes 2 weeks before he went in. He was going to go in as an officer. He was ROTC'd.
Okay, but they tested him for diabetes, and they were like, you have diabetes.
Yeah, he can't. He didn't
go.
You
can't go.
No, he couldn't go. And he was really upset. But the deal is that I remember these conversations about we had victory. My mom and dad had victory gardens. My grandmother had a victory. And they called, from then on, any vegetable garden that we had was called a victory garden.
I have a victory garden. I've always called it a victory garden because when have we not been at war?
Right.
So,
and I don't know if it stems from World War I.
No, I believe it to be World War II.
I believe it was a World War II thing, but my mom went through World War I also. My mom was born in 12.
Right. My dad is 88. He was born in 37 or 38, something like that.
See, my folks were much older, and my grandparents were born in 1874.
What?
My grandparents were born in 1874. Yeah.
Where did they come from? Were they always here?
They were Irish. They came from Northern Ireland. Their parents came over and went to Canada. So they were they were Canadian. And then they married in 1900.
Oh, wow.
And my grandfather was working for Frederick Weyerhaeuser, the original Weyerhaeuser.
Okay.
From Weyerhaeuser's timber mill. And he was working in the woods for him in Manitoba and just above Wisconsin. And then they wanted him in the States, so he moved his family to the States.
Huh.
And
Weird.
so they lived in Minnesota.
So you could get citizenship in both Canada and Ireland.
Well,
legally.
Kind of. Yeah. I mean, but both my grandparents got their American citizenship.
Right.
So.
But there's some sort of my sister was looking into because if you get Irish citizenship, you could I could do stand up anywhere in the EU.
So you've done stand up in Ireland.
I have done stand up in Dublin.
Was it fun?
Yeah, it was. Well, was it fun? They didn't. I did okay until I made fun of my own sort of Irish ancestry. So then I did well, but I did, it was just okay. And then we went to Iceland. I did stand up in Iceland. I'm going to London. I'm doing a show in London on July 23rd.
Awesome. That's so awesome.
And that'll be fun. But so Rangers, if you live anywhere in Europe, I guess, fly to London for my June 23rd.
That's
it's at
awesome.
either the Bill Murray or the Angel. I forget. I think it's at the Angel. It's in Islington. Sort of attached to London. I don't know if that's actually in London.
Tell me this, because we don't get to talk comedy too often. I'm so sorry to your listeners, but I'm. So when you travel, when you do those shows overseas or in Europe or whatever, do you have your openers and do you have anybody else on the show with you? And if so, do you use the talent from the area or do you bring someone?
I always use the talent from the area because I don't have that kind of money.
I think but I also think that's wonderful. Okay,
right,
so go.
Right, because everybody needs stage time.
And they bring their people.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and I'm doing my new album and special in Portland, where Susan Rice is from. Susan Rice.
Are you at Helium? Where? No, you're.
No, I'm going to do it at the Siren. Which is a small black box theater.
Really small.
Yeah, very small.
Okay.
Do you know what that means? I can fill it, and it has a vaulted
Jackie
ceiling.
Would have no problem. I did Joe Dombrowski's show there.
Yeah, it's but the I'm hoping to fill it and do 2 shows that night, and film both of them so that
you'll do great. It'll be great.
But everyone should know that Susan Rice has a new album out a week from today called Silver Alert, May 13th.
Yeah.
And she's at Funny Old Bag on Instagram and TikTok. Is there a SusanRice.com?
There is a SusanRiceComedy.com, and it's brand new. And it's I've redone my website, and shout out to Erica Stacy who did it.
Good.
And it's SusanRiceComedy.com.
That's great. So you can go see her. So in November, I'm going to do a new special. In July, I'm going to be in London. But
so excited. That's great, Jackie.
Those are the 2 things I'm doing. And then has your AGT aired yet?
No. I didn't. I just did the audition in front of
the fancy people?
In front of the judges, and then there's 250 people that made it through, and there's only 55 slots that they can do to go to the live shows that started in August. This was all last summer, and so it's over and done.
Right.
But it was fun. It was fun.
Okay.
It was fun. It was.
And here's what I like to say about those things. And now it's over.
And now exactly, and that's how I felt when I walked away. I went, well, that's over. I don't have
dodge
to
that bullet.
Yeah.
I did the thing and I love that you said no first, and then you're like, all right, fine.
Well, I got a manager who kept telling me, stop saying no. I went, okay.
Here's the thing. If they would be like, if I could say, do I have to care?
Yes.
Because if I could show up wearing my given up pants and a hat and just try and then give me the 3 minutes you're going to give me,
Yeah.
Sure.
Can we do it in my living room? That's
Right.
what I want.
Do I
Yeah, I don't want to
Are
leave
you going
the
to send a
house.
town car? Because that's
don't
what I
want-
also
don't
need.
want- I don't want to leave the house. Yeah, those are all those things. But the thing about it is that you have this too, because we've traveled so much in our careers. And home is our greatest journey. But once we hit that stage,
then it's fun.
then
It's all worth it.
That's what it's done. That's what it is.
That's what it's for.
And
right?
you get to talk to people after, and they tell you these stories, and they tell you how much that you make them laugh meant to them. I mean,
yeah.
And you kind of go, okay, I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Right. There's some sort of point and purpose to all of this. Yeah. It's, and especially now, I was telling Lori Kilmartin that I consider
love her, tell her hello, and I love her special.
Excellent. I told her that I consider us essential workers at this time.
That's true. Do you know, when this all happened, I know that you were nervous. My Social Security's on the line, all kinds of stuff's on the line. And I thought, what's going to happen to stand-up?
Oh, yeah.
But historically, entertainment has always not thrived, but has always sustained, because people need that break, that emotional break. They need to step out of the crap and come and be normal for an hour.
Right. And that's why I have the driving jokes and the mother-in-law jokes, you guys. I also have some rage-filled jokes about guns. Anyway.
I love your stuff. You always make me laugh. And I love the stuff about your dad. Your stuff about your dad always makes me laugh.
It's true. I told him.
And the paintings.
Oh my God, they've continued. He has 2 new paintings, you guys. Anybody wants a swan?
I'll take
it. Here's a fox. Anybody wants a fox?
He's good though. He's not that bad.
No, he's not that bad. And people really like the sort of the whimsical ones.
Yeah.
Better than the ones where he puts them like there's a really cool leopard. You would have to want a painting of a leopard, or a painting of a swan, or a painting of a fox.
And you have to feel like, okay, this is where my freak flag flies. I'm just going to get this and hang it up and love it.
I mean, if you have a painting of like Chris, this is Chris's old room, right? Chris passed away in October, and she wanted a steamboat, like, because she's from Mississippi, right? So she wanted one of those old paddle boats.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Okay. And she got it.
She liked this one, which is
that's
just a nice scene.
I like that too. I don't think that's great.
That's a nice river one.
Yeah.
And then
can Megan Jackie get up and show me all her artwork.
That's what this entire episode is deteriorated.
That's okay. It's okay. I mean, it's not okay for I hope your listeners forgive us. But.
Right. No, I think that they're on board. But then she wanted this paddle boat.
Okay, well, now that's bizarre. That's a little bizarre, but it's kind of cool.
Right, but she wanted it, and he was like, I'll paint a paddle boat. What do I care? So,
I think it's great you have your dad. I think that's great.
I do. That's what people tell me. So I am watching we got to go, but I'm going to tell you, there's new ones that I'm watching.
Okay, I'm writing them down.
Well, Signora Volpe, I think you would really like, and Harry Wilde.
Harry Wilde, I've seen that. I think I've looked at it and went, I'm not a big Jane, what's her name?
Seymour.
But, yeah.
Okay, well then, Signora Volpe is essentially Jane Seymour light. Give that a shot.
Okay.
And then, but the new one I'm watching is called Vienna Blood.
Seen it.
You saw it?
Yeah.
You know what I love about some of these things? It's sort of like Murdoch's Mysteries, where they're set in like weird times and places.
Yes.
So it's different. Then all of a sudden, it's the same. All of a sudden, they're at the circus and there's been a murder.
It's like, did you see Holmes and Watson, or what's the name of it?
I saw Sherlock with Cumberbatch.
Cumberbatch. Yeah, it was amazing. But this one picked up after he was actually retired, after Sherlock
one of
has
the
retired.
older?
And it's not as old as they played the other one with Sir Anthony. What's his name? But Watson. And anyway, and it's only like 4 episodes.
Right.
But
Did you see Total Zero?
But I think Vienna Blood was really short too.
Yeah, Vienna Blood is only 2 seasons, I think, or if that.
Yeah.
Then
no, I haven't seen Zero. I started watching it though. I have started watching it
because there's only 3 episodes, and each one is only an hour. We finished that the other night.
And Angelica Houston, I love her.
She's good in everything. She makes everything better.
Amazing.
Oh, here's the other Australian one.
Okay.
Mr. and Mrs. Murder.
Okay.
Mr. and Mrs. Murder are here's the weird twist with them, besides them being Australian.
Okay.
They're the cleanup people after a murder.
My niece did that.
And then does she solve the murder? Because that's what they do.
No, that would have been much better. That's amazing. Okay, I'm going to watch that one.
And the chemistry between the couple
is good.
Is really, really good. Really good.
Okay. All right.
So,
okay, it's on my list, Jackie.
All right. Susan Rice, thank you so much for doing the Dork for us. This has been a lovely hour.
Thanks a lot. And good luck on your I'm so excited. You're so prolific, and your albums. Go buy Jackie's albums.
I'm so psyched that you have an album.
I have an album.
Go find Susan Rice
proof.
at Funny Old Bag. It'll be in the notes.
Bag.
Everything will be in the notes. But
thanks a lot.
You're welcome. And Rangers, you know the rules out there. Take care of each other.
Hi, doll. How was the show?
Well, the dogs are excited about it.
The dogs are very excited. Something's happening.
Susan Rice, that was the guest. And it was, I think, the way so many people are coping with the American experiment going awry is BritBox and Eggcorn.
And a lot of British murder mysteries. Cozy murder mysteries.
Coziest without a cupcake recipe to be seen.
Right.
That's where I draw the line.
It's true.
But I will say that she loved Susan Rice, great comic, has a new album coming out a week from today.
Cool.
Sadly, I can't find my notes, so you're going to have to all find it yourselves. I'm going to look. It's going to be in the notes.
It'll be in the notes
of the episode. And she's great. She's been doing stand-up comedy for 42 years. This is her first album.
Oh, that's great.
She did America's Got Talent last year. She did.
Wow.
Everyone keeps asking her to do things, and she's like, no, I'm 73. 72. And then they ask her again, and she's like, all right.
Are you looking forward to being 72 and telling people no until they ask you again and then saying all right?
They're already doing it at 59. Would you do America's Got Talent? The last time the guy asked me, I said, can I just show up in my given up pants and do whatever I want? And he said, no. And I said, stop asking me. And he did. Anyway.
For now.
Downton Abbey. That was the deep dive. We talked a little bit about comedy and a little bit about she loved Deadlock.
Okay.
So we talked about the stuff that's on BritBox and Acorn, and she had some recommendations. I really hope I find that piece of paper because I don't know what those recommendations were, and I wrote them down. And but I will say that it's it was a great episode. It was super fun. An hour went by super fast.
Right. So I get Downton Abbey is basically the new version of Upstairs Downstairs, right?
Probably. I never watched either of them.
I remember Upstairs
Smith
Downstairs when I was a kid. It was like the British soap opera kind of thing.
It feels like a British soap opera.
Theater.
Feels like Downton Abbey. Like I don't think that there's been a murder.
No, I don't think it is. I think it's just high class people and their serving class people all trying to live together.
And after World War I, where somebody falls in love with the chauffeur. Gasp.
The scandal.
Anyway, but yes, it went like that, and then I don't know.
And his horse.
and his horse. And then there was a Shirley MacLaine does a season.
Ooh, of Downton Abbey?
Of Downton Abbey. She plays the American heiress's mother.
Oh, I bet that's amazing.
Yes. Color Andy Ashcraft. I am interested. So it kind of makes me slightly interested, except for I'm not a huge fan of soap operas. I want there to be a murder.
Right. Well, frequently there is anyway.
Sometimes there's a murder anyway. I don't know. I did tell her about Mr. and Mrs. Murder just because of how fun that is.
Yep, it's a good one.
And anyway, it was a great episode.
Sounds fun.
And if I can find the paper, we'll have 2 more recommendations
We'll
for us.
We'll have more information.
Yes. Rangers, you know the rules out there. Take care of each other.
My hat, my hat, my hat. They're dancing around my hat. My hat, my hat, my hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?